Why should managers of governance reform programs be concerned with securing political will?
I think, in a very real sense, unless you have political buy-in from the start, the program is not going to be, possibly won't even get off the ground, or it certainly won't be sustainable or instrumental in any real sense of the word. If you have political will and buy-in from the outset, then it's much more likely that the program will be supported.
But a lot of development practitioners shy away from being engaged with politics. Can you talk about this a little bit?
Yeah, I think there's a general sort of anxiety within development about being about recognising the political nature of what development aims to achieve. A lot of donors obviously have anxieties that they're seen as interfering in a country or context, and so they very much shy away from it, from being seen to be political. Now, the irony is that any form of development is effectively a political endeavour, in the sense, I'm not talking politics with a big P, but it has ripples, ramifications. It affects often a large number of different stakeholders, and unless you recognise that you need the buy-in and support from those stakeholders, you're not going to have a sustainable program.
You've done a lot of work in developing countries. What kinds of examples come to mind?
If we look, for example, in Rwanda, I worked with the bank on the Country Framework Report, which is a 5-year development plan. And the Country Framework Report, from the outset, we wanted to ensure we had the buy-in and the ownership from the host government, from the government of Rwanda. So we thought, well, how are we going to do this? We can undertake stakeholder analysis. We can go and see all the critical stakeholder groups, figure out what priorities are, and what needs to happen going forward, and then we can process that and write it up. Now, what we decided to do was do that, and then at 6-week intervals sit down with all of the key line ministries and basically present the information and say, this is where we are. What do you think?
Well, there must be some stories as well of things not going quite the way you had planned it. What might the lessons be from this?
I mean, in my experience, generally things begin to fall apart when the first step, stakeholder analysis, isn't undertaken properly. When I say stakeholder analysis, I'm saying at the start of any communications project, you need to, this may sound obvious, but you need to sit down and figure out what the goals are, and ensure that everybody's on site and on message, and all agree that this is where you want to go. Once you've done that, then you sit down and you map out which interest groups are affected by what you're intending to achieve. Now, when I say interest groups, I'm saying people who have what are the hopes and fears, what are the anxieties, what do people want to achieve, what are they worried about, what are the channels you might use to reach them, what are the messages that may resonate with them. Until you've done that deep sort of stakeholder analysis, that doesn't need to be a quantitative research poll, it needs to be more of a qualitative appreciation of what the hopes and fears of the people you're working with and the stakeholders are. Once you've got that in place, then you'll find that you can't really go wrong. You've got the foundation there. Any program that doesn't have that upfront analysis and research tends to go wrong.